Welcome to another episode of 17 Minutes with South. ECR All Talk Radio. Hello and welcome to another episode of All Talk Radio, Elite Cup Racing, 17 Minutes with South. For the second week in a row, we got our special guest, Mr. Johnny B. How you doing, Johnny?
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me on this week.
And our weekly guest is none other than the 88 driver of the Cup Series, Mr. Billy Jack. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing good. How's everybody else doing today?
Hanging in there. Can't complain.
It's fine, thank you.
Yep.
Now, Billy, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I just admitted that you drive the 88 Cup car. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Billy.
Yeah, my name's Jerry Cope. I drive a truck over the road. I love racing with ECR on Saturday nights. Try to make them on Tuesdays and Thursdays if I can, but just depends on how it all goes.
Now, with that said, you drive the 88, and when Johnny was still racing, you were a teammate of Johnny. Johnny, is there anything you want to ask your teammate there?
I can remember a few times that me and the 88 were not quite the quickest cars, especially at them super speedways, and we worked together a lot at those super speedways. He's fun to work with.
Yeah, got to work with them teammates. If we can get them other teammates to give up some of them setups to get these Hendrix cars all running up front like that every week. I'm getting there. It's just taking a little bit.
Well, the main thing is as long as you're having fun, that's what we're always promoting, is to have fun.
Yeah, I have a blast every weekend. A couple weeks ago, we had a little run-in with the 18 car, but it's all good. It all come out in the wash.
You gotta watch that 18 car. He's a hoot. Yeah, there's a couple times. You're not the only one that I am very thankful that I don't live near any of you motherfuckers, because I have a feeling that I'd have a black eye or something like that if I lived near any of you. I think,
no, it wouldn't go that way, dude. Hell no, it's just a heat of the moment. You know how it is.
I think Sullivan actually said
down again
after one of the races that he was prepared to ride to my house with a 4-hour ride or a 5-hour ride in between, just to knock on my door.
Yeah.
Just
well, if I'm going to do that, I'm always through Athens down there. So.
Yeah, you want to drive 5 hours to get your ass whipped? Come on.
Well, Sullivan's probably one of the biggest guys in Elite Cup racing, so if I could avoid jumping or getting jumped on by him, I would definitely do that. Now, Billy,
right.
I want to tie into what you just said. You're the only guy from Elite Cup I've ever met.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome too, dude. I mean, you sit and talk to somebody. I don't know how long we've been online talking together for years. And then they finally meet up and put a face with the voice. It was pretty cool. It was just like he was on the online, you know. I mean, that was pretty sweet.
Where did you guys meet? How did that all happen?
I was down there, and I ended up staying the night there at the Walmart in Athens. And
I was at a gay bar, and Billy was at a gay bar. I'm just joking.
Shit.
Did y'all get the same table, or did you leave together after? How'd that work? I don't know.
Well, I got in a fight, and some gay guy pulled my wig off, and Billy was like, "Hey, that's 17 South." Billy told me that he was going to be at a Walmart, so I came home, grabbed my youngest son, and we headed out to a local Walmart that's maybe 30 minutes from my house, and there he was, big old truck and all. So he met me and my son, and
Didn't that happen years ago? Somebody, one of the few of the league members, actually went to a live race.
Um,
Uh,
that's happened a few times. I know that
A couple guys got together.
Smoke Johnson, climbing artist, and possibly Bubba, they met up at one of the Charlotte races. Um, now Harvick Harvick fan has met Bigums. Actually, was coming through and Bigums cooked him dinner. He so there's been a couple occasions where these guys have met up. Um,
I thought
hell,
that was pretty cool.
Unwarned, Unwarned's probably met more of the guys that race now than anybody, because a lot of the guys live in South Carolina. So Unwarned definitely has met, Gainey. He's definitely met Phil Killer because they're pretty much neighbors. But then he's also,
Kane's up there. Oh, Kane's in North Carolina, ain't
he's North Carolina and South Carolina. He kind of jumps back and forth. I think Kane's a undercover CIA agent, and he doesn't want to tell us. Either that or he's in
he?
the
Well,
witness.
he's a good jumper, no doubt about that.
yeah.
Kane's a good guy, though. With that said,
No, I enjoyed ECR. I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, I've been to a couple different leagues, and ECR is the way to go.
Second that motion. Notion.
Yep.
can you remember your first win at Elite Cup racing, Billy? Is there?
Oh man, I know. Back in the day, I drove the 18 car for a while, and I think I had more wins in the 18 car than I did in the. I was driving the 33 back then, and the 18 car had come open, and I ended up jumping in it. And I really remember winning more with that in my early years. 18 car was a
How's
good
that?
car.
That the only other car you've driven besides the 88?
No,
Was the 18?
I drove the three. Well, I started driving the 33, and then I went from that to the 18, and then I ended up Whiskey, if you remember him.
Mm-hmm.
He had got the 88, and I ended up buying it from him for
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the
and
first
I
time I
drove
heard of
that
something like that.
up until I got the three car, and then I ended up transferring back to the 88.
Did you ever drive the 31? Or was
No,
that your brother?
Richard drove the 31.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, me and him was teammates there for quite some time.
He drove a
And
13.
then,
He's driving a 13. All right.
yeah, that was before he went to the 13. Well, actually, that's shoulders too. So
Yeah, it's a satellite.
17. Have you switched to cars? I can't remember. I have switched a few times throughout my ECR career. I can't remember 17 getting out of that 18. He might have in the early days, but I can't remember which one it was.
I think that was the year after he won his championship, or maybe 2 years after. And he had left for a little while, and I ended up getting it back. And then when he come back, he ended up getting 18 back because I let it go.
Well, to clarify, the 13 right now is drove by Tar Heel. But to answer your question, Johnny, I started off my career with a one car, and absolutely hated the 18 car. But the very next season, I jumped into the 18 car. Whatever happened, for whatever reason, I departed from Elite Cup racing, and I came back, and since I've been back, I've drove the 78, the 33, the 2 car, because I remember winning with the 2 car at Pocono. Um, there was another one. Then when I finally because Evo drove the 18 at one time too, but when I finally got back in to the 18, it's home now. I'm not leaving. Just like you with the 48 car, Johnny.
I was actually watching a few of your movies on YouTube the other day. Some of the old stuff when I was in the 20 car. That's how far back I went.
Yeah, yeah, I remember when you drove the 20 car. Old Home
11 for a
Depot.
while. Yeah,
That was back when Tony Stewart was driving it.
right.
So there, there's probably no way to remember your first win, but is there a win that stands out in your mind, Billy? That you just
Yeah, I think I do remember my first win was at Daytona.
yeah, I was thinking it
Okay.
was
That's when
a super
Bigum's
speedway.
whiskey and
Was that the 500
uh
or was that the second race of the year?
no, it was the first race of the season. It was in the 33
Daytona
car.
500.
I remember that. Yep. Yep.
Also, we're
And
Say that every day.
speaking to a Daytona
yeah.
500 winner.
Oh, guess I'm the only one in the group
Yeah,
that
that
didn't win the Daytona 500. Dang.
yeah, because I remember it right. Me and Whiskey was door to door, and he was on the high side, and I ended up I pushed him up into the wall so I could win that race, and Whiskey got
But
all
hurt.
bent sideways over it. I remember that. Yep. Old
He was
Whiskey,
Canadian, so
he was a crazy sucker, man. You could get him going real quick. Bigums was
he
always
usually,
pretty easy
remember, I
going.
think he'd have about 4 joints rolled up for each race, I believe.
Yeah,
Remember right.
yeah, yep. I, matter of fact, I think I even quit ECR one time, backed out of a race because me and Whiskey got into it.
Probably. He got into it with a lot of
Yep.
people.
Oh yeah,
I got into it with whiskey in
but it
Charlotte one
sure
night.
growed since then, though, because there was only what a handful of us in it back then.
There was only a handful, and the way the game was set up, it would only let us run
Yeah,
without
right.
any kind of lag. It would only let us run like 8 guys.
Yeah,
Eight was a really big room back then because if you got eight,
We were pressing it.
yeah, the lag would start kicking people out. I mean, we ECR, yes, it's grown, but the functionality of the game is actually grown too. I mean,
yeah,
people are
that's
still
true.
upset with what we run now, but hell, we can run 16 in a room. The only reason
Yeah,
we're limited to 16 is because of Mike. And you know, last week's show with Bless, he was talking about Discord, and it's up in the air what we're going to do, and we're always trying to make it better at Elite Cup racing. Don't get us wrong, but moving back to you, Billy. Johnny, I know last week you was asking Bless about some of his favorite tracks. Is there anything you want to ask Billy about maybe some of his favorite tracks or anything like that?
I've been racing with Billy a long time, and I'm going to say, in my opinion, I think he's a mile and a halfer. Are you a mile and a half for Billy, or are you in your
yeah.
opinion?
That's I was just gonna say. I like the mile and a half. You can get a lot of speed in a mile and a half.
Now,
But I have won Martinsville. That was my only win last year. Was Martinsville first race at that track, and it just it just depends on the room that you're in, how you're gonna do. I mean, I don't the Evil and Bless and some of them guys, man, that run up run every week. They're just phenomenal. I don't know where they get all the speed at sometimes. When I'm posting my times and they're telling me theirs, I'm saying, Jesus Christ, man, what I got to do? I don't know. I
I hear you.
think
Been
I think
second off the
being
pace a
being
few times.
teammates, I think they need to start sharing with their other teammates. Right, Johnny?
That is a good. No, that is a good idea, but it's
Yeah.
unfair if the single car teams they don't have
Yeah.
any teammates.
Well,
So
there's
well,
quite a few of them that's pretty fast in that
single
in
car
that
feud.
lobby. Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of them guys are fast. I mean, I'm falling behind. I need to start figuring something out.
well, the just by eyeballing Evo and Bless, the amount of online practice that they put into their cars, I mean, it's second to none.
Yeah.
They didn't get fast overnight. They have put the work in, and it's paying off now. I can definitely say that for both of those guys, both of those cats. And if Blessed is pulling off his sheet for the last 3 years, Evo's just he's just as well set up as far as he's got his sheets too. So these setups,
Yeah.
hell, they could be 4 years old.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and
That's
again,
what I'm
these
working off of.
Evo's got, and I talk for Bless, and these are not the only two guys. There's some more cats out there, like Bless talked about last week. I mean, we've got
Oh yeah.
Unworn, Sullivan, Bucks,
Grease.
Grease, yeah,
There's,
Kent,
there's about 6, 7 of them that are pretty consistent running up front.
and some of the new guys like Sarge, Bucks.
Oh yeah.
Again, these guys are getting fast too. And what you don't want to be handed is you got these guys that are building speed. You don't want to just come out and say, "Here's a very fast setup," because there's
Right.
things that are going to happen with that. You just gave a guy that doesn't have the seat time a fucking rocket. Now you give that guy a
Oh
rocket,
yeah.
what's he going to do? He's going to shoot up.
Crash.
Yeah. He's gonna overdrive it.
And I didn't mention Cobra. Dot. I want to leave Cobra out because he's fast too. Um, so Billy, it's as far as when you come to these Elite Cup races, is there anyone in particular you're like, hey man, I can't wait to race around that motherfucker. I enjoy. Is there somebody you like in your lobby? Somebody you like? You don't have to name names if you don't
I
like.
like racing with DP. Me and DP, we do a lot of hard racing together. I like him. I think I mean, it seems like he stepped up here in the last three weeks, month though. It seems like he's gotten a little bit faster. So, but I like racing with all the guys though, man. I mean, uh, just respect,
Yeah,
that's all. I mean, you can have a falling out, and an hour later, you're back on there and racing with the same guy having a blast. So, I mean, it just depends in the room how fast you are and mixing it up, just like last night. Bless and Evo, I started on the front row, and Bless was on the bottom of me, and Evo decided to make it three wide in turn one, and that wasn't a good thing.
That usually doesn't work out well. A guy in the
No,
middle anyway, or the guy in the bottom.
not at Chicagoland, because that you got a certain way to hit that track, man. And if you can't hit your marks and you got other cars around you, you can't get them marks, and it's not gonna be the same outcome when you come out of them corners. But
Now,
no, I like racing. I like getting behind Evil and Bless, watching what lines they're running, man, and they're good, man. They're good.
now
I gotta say.
what is your opinion on this on the new format, the stages?
Oh,
What's
I
your
love it.
take on
I
that?
love
You
it.
look at the stages.
Oh yeah, I think what you lose at the beginning of the race, if you go a lap down, you got two shots of getting it back under them stages, and that makes it a little bit more exciting.
I think that was probably, in my opinion, the biggest reason I retired.
the
Really?
stages.
The
This
stages?
was the format. Once it turned to stages, I was completely lost. I'm in the time. I'm in the
Yeah,
time frame. You're running 29s. I might be high 29s, but I'm in the 29s. So I'm in
right.
the time frame. I just can't figure out these stage pit stops. That's killing me. I have not won a
Well,
race. I have not won a stage since they started that. That was the main reason I retired.
I tell you, man, what I like about it, you can get to if you're running in the back, you can save fuel, man. And as long as the race goes green and it ain't a caution, and that fuel can work out. I mean, I've placed in, you know, uh, pretty good in the stage points, just because of saving fuel and saving your tires. That makes a whole big difference, man. You can do that with this game now. I mean, you used to be able to save the fuel in the older games, but in this game, it takes a little bit more to save fuel.
Well, speaking of saving fuel, I mean, at Chicago, if you were running default, it would give you the exact laps it said you were going to get. But as soon as you put your setup in, you eat
Ye-
2 laps out of nowhere. I didn't
Right.
understand that. Um,
Well, I know it seemed like later in the stage, it seemed like you was burning more fuel to me because I noticed that, man, because I was a lap to the good, and then 10 laps later I was fucking a lap to the bad.
yeah, yeah.
And
Now, you cannot like years ago you could say to save fuel. We didn't have stages back then. Started and
right.
finished, which
Oh yeah.
I loved. I loved. Uh, but I'm just saying, the stages, yeah,
Hey,
yeah, they're very. There's something I
yeah,
think you have to learn about those to really.
yeah. And back in the day when we didn't have the stages, you could save a lot of fuel.
And let me ask you this, you guys. These new Gen 6 cars, can you just push in the clutch like we could years ago? You can't, can you? Physically have to
No.
downshift to neutral.
Well,
Now I
Years
think
ago,
some of these
you could just
guys
push in
that's
the
got,
clutch going into the corner, save a little fuel, and then
yeah.
pop that clutch in the middle and come out and hit the gas and save fuel that way. I used to do it all the time.
Now if I'm not mistaken, I think some of them guys that's got the wheels, if they can ride
Oh
their
yeah,
clutch, that's what they're saying. I don't know how much there is to it, but
well,
it
if
kind of
you've
I
makes
used to save
sense,
a
you
ton of
know.
fuel.
if you've got a
And
controller,
some of them doesn't
you don't
have
you
the
don't have a
clutch
clutch
though.
button. If you're running off a controller, you have no clutch. If you're running off
Clutch.
a basic wheel with just pedals, you still pretty
Right.
much have no clutch. The
Yeah,
guys
you
that
gotta
have
buy the double one.
the shifters, there is
Yeah.
a way that if you're using the shifter, you can use clutch, and for the most part, yes, you do have an advantage. Um, so you do have an advantage to save a little bit more fuel. But even the guys that I saw at Chicago, for whatever reason, with the 2019 package, and as long as you are running default, you can get everything it said as far as your fuel. But as soon as you put your setup in, it
Yeah.
even with the guys with the clutch, the shifters, you ate the fucking fuel for some reason. I didn't. It was
Right.
weird. It threw me off the loop because I was supposed to be 2 laps to the good, and I was 2 laps short.
Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta. I was half throttle on it, 3/4 throttle on it for 10 laps to try to get that extra laps back, but it's hard to do at Chicago. And like you said, it was good on the first stage when we had the defaults in, but then once you started putting your setups in, that's when you started losing your fuel mileage
Hmm.
if you didn't watch it. But it worked out good
Uh,
for me last night on the
yeah, you
fuel mileage saving.
naturally go faster.
Yeah.
Now,
Sounds
Johnny,
with fuel.
I know you're semi-retired now and expecting to make a debut for 2020, but could we expect Johnny to make any kind of debut in the Winter Series? Because we've got a pretty neat Winter Series that's going to kick off um, right after the regulars, this year, this 2019 season. We've already got,
It would be actually, yeah, it would be actually, I did carry my retirement over to 2020. I suppose I could consider that winter series as a practice session.
yeah.
Save
Billy,
time for the regular season.
do you do you
Yes,
run
sir.
much of the Winter Series races, or is that something that you're?
Oh yeah, I made every one of them last year because I think didn't you give out extra points for running the Winter Series or something if you run
Yeah,
all the races? I think I did.
yeah, you definitely get.
Yep.
I can't remember if it's. I know the year before we did it where it showed up in the chase, but I can't remember how we did it this year. But yeah,
Right.
you definitely get a. There's a bonus
Right.
for guys that make every race. Absolutely, and
Oh
that
yeah.
that stemmed from Johnny because for years me and Johnny were making every race, and then there were some races I couldn't make, and for years Johnny made every single race. I don't know how he did it,
Oh
but he
yeah.
did.
Oh, my wife,
Yeah.
she knew on Saturday nights not even to talk to me. Some
Yeah.
girl would go, oh, come on, you race every damn Saturday night. You got to take me out for drinks, then we have some fun. No, not on Saturday night. Got 6 days of the week to pick. You can have all
There
of
you
them other
go.
days. You can get in Saturday night. And I did. I showed up every week. That's how much I love ECR. That's how much I
Oh yeah.
love ECR. I don't want
I
to,
look
take
forward
anything,
to it, dude.
anybody in ECR take it personal that I retired. It's not anybody's fault. It's my fault. See, it was in my head. Like I
Yeah,
said,
I
them
look
stage
forward
things
to it.
were the main reason I retired. It wasn't any of the drivers. It wasn't
Well,
any of the drama. It was the stages.
Well,
Once I
that'll
figure
be
out pitting
good.
stages, I think I'll be pretty. Just got to figure those out. And maybe I
It'll
can
be
do that
good to
during the
see
Winter Cup.
that Ally 48 car back out there.
Yeah. Had a new paint scheme.
Oh yeah. Yeah, buddy, that might make the difference right there, right? Got that new
well,
sponsor driving for it.
hopefully the new game will make a big difference. Now,
Yeah.
Billy, is there any races coming up in the near future that you're like you got checked off on your calendar? You can't wait to get there. Can't wait to get unloaded with your car and can't.
Daytona, Charlotte, next weekend, buddy. That's what I'm focused on right now.
That's going to be a lot of racing in one night. We're going to have
Yeah, buddy. And
def, definitely get
I
your
got a
pecans
pretty good
ready.
setup for Charlotte. Oh.
I
Cause
definitely
it,
need to turn some laps there.
Now,
I
did we
haven't.
do the same thing last year with the Daytona Charlotte thing?
We did not. The reason why we kicked it off this year is just the way everything unfolded as far as the night of the Charlotte race, and a lot of guys just wasn't going to show up, and we put a poll up there, and majority voted, and um, the talking heads of Elite Cup racing moved it over to a hell. If it's going to be a long race, let's make it a long race. And
yeah,
to me, the I don't like to alter Talladega, but and I'm definitely never going to alter the 500. But the second Daytona race, hell, let's make it what it is. It's a shootout,
right.
baby. You know what I mean? It's going to be
Yep.
13%. Um, we have to see what we can do as far as what we're allowed to do is taking damage off and stuff like that. We don't know anything about that. You got to qualify for the Daytona, but the winner of the Daytona automatically qualifies first for the Charlotte, or the fastest lap automatically qualifies for Charlotte, something like that. We haven't got everything
All
written
right.
down as far as pin goes, but we'll figure it out. We'll have it posted up and have
You
a
mean for
picture.
the poll?
Yeah, you will not
Okay.
technically qualify physically for Charlotte.
Okay.
That'll be
Okay.
done in the Daytona race. Johnny, to answer your question, we used to do double hitters, um, and we took them out for a season or two. But it's something that we've always had in our back pocket if we needed to do something like this.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting night. Two different beasts you're gonna
Yeah,
be running.
I just hope no one gets pissed off from anything that happens in Daytona and carries it over to Charlotte because the Charlotte race, a lot of people may not have checked it out yet, but it's 4 stages. They're they
Oh yeah.
they're exactly the same as far as the laps and all that. Each one of them's no longer than the other. So it's if you show up to Charlotte and your car sucks, you're not making the whole race. I guarantee you that. We got what we call back ratters, and a lot of people will back out about halfway through Charlotte. If your car sucks, you won't last. Um, and that's just the nature of Charlotte. It will chew your ass up and spit you out because there's
Yeah.
some humps in Charlotte that are not forgiving, especially with damage.
Yeah, buddy. And them walls don't give either.
Johnny, could
That's
you
that
wiggle
would
your
screw
controller
you
there?
up right there.
Pardon me?
Oh, there you go. I couldn't hear you for a second there. Um,
Oh, yeah, I had mic difficulties.
Now, how do you feel about the double header races there, Billy? I mean, obviously we wouldn't double header a Martinsville and a Charlotte, but to me, the super speedways they always come down to the
Yeah,
last little segment anyway.
right. Yeah, I'd say uh, super speedways. Yeah, you could double them up because, like you said, it'd be hard to make a 50 percenter for Martinsville and a 50 percenter for Arnold's Club.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. I think it'll go good. I mean, if you leave the damage off or however you guys do it. I mean, everybody knows what's going to be in store for it when the green flag goes anyway. It's going to be everybody for themselves.
Now, personally,
Uh,
I remember whenever we used to run these super speedways. I know that we ran the Bud Shootout twice in a row like this. Y'all remember whenever we used to run the super speedways with collisions off?
yeah, I
Yes.
didn't like that.
I
I
It was
personally
different. It
didn't
was
like it.
different.
Yeah,
I mean, I think I almost won one time that way.
it was
it
either
just
tit for tat. It I won one of them. I won the Bud Shootout one year, but I also got my ass kicked at Talladega one year.
Different. All you
yeah.
had to do is drive.
I
You didn't have to worry about hitting nobody.
yeah, I think I don't know. It just if you get a pack of cars together, man, it just looks.
Yeah,
I don't
it's kind
know.
of
It
spooky.
just yeah, yeah. You're I don't know. It seemed like everyone would rerun like that, dude. I ended up falling out of the draft, and you know how that goes at super speedways. You lose the draft, and you're
I
just
always
riding
tended to,
around.
yeah, I always tended to be the reverse of that. I always tended to be up for some damn reason.
Yeah,
Like Johnny said,
but
you just put that down, put a put your boot down and put a lead weight on top of that foot, and that's all you can do.
No.
yep,
And it was a little cool. You could see the second place guy, and then you turn to first place, and then you turn to second. I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, I
yeah,
crossed the stripe. We come out of 4 one year, and I crossed the stripe. Like, I thought I had him. I was on the high side. He was on the low side. Plus, I got just a little bit more draft than I did, but it's pretty fun.
I
yeah. And
just
the cars
Not
would
realistic,
draft
but fun. Yeah.
right.
was like,
Cars would draft like that, and
That's
that's
what
what
it, that's
really
that's
that
what
was
17 South is to ECR. He's like the, I can't call him the father because he's younger than me. Um, a really
he's a
cool
bro.
uncle.
Yeah, yeah,
He come up with some great ideas. He kept tough
Uncle
fresh.
Pete.
I think he's the best. He is.
oh
There's
yeah.
nobody that helped me run a league or runs this league better than 17 South. In
No,
my opinion.
you
well,
got the right guys
I
hooked
might
up
be the
into it.
prez, but he's the king.
I,
Yeah,
I do appreciate that, and there's no way in the world I could take full credit for that. There's a lot of, like Billy said, there's a lot of guys that are behind the curtain too, and I'll go ahead and give a shout out to them. You've got Colts Kenny, Phil Killer, LaFarve, Bucks, Evo, Unworn, and even guys now they're kind of stepping up. Blessed, DP, Kent. These three guys will be running the Winter Cup for the Cup Series this season. So these three guys you're gonna be introducing them, and let's not forget about all the guys that actually race for ECR. That's our bread and butter. Billy, um, new guys like Sarge, Keystone, Kevlar, and the list goes on. Nate the programmer, Hunter Falcon, Cobra, Sullivan, Tack. There's no way I'm going to forget somebody, so please don't be mad at me. Kane, Novocaine, Texas Boy, Texas Boy's friend, the Marine. I can't remember his name. Legit killer. And it goes on for guys that don't race every week that can only show up this week, that week, this week, that week. Guys, we love you to death at Elite Cup Racing. We're one big family, and I will never look at myself. I know I drink, I partake, I drink a little bit, but I will never look at myself as an owner because officially I'm not the owner because Evo and Unworn own too, but I look at myself as a promoter. That's all I'm here for. Give y'all the weapons to have fun. That's all. Johnny,
Oh,
for years you did it off of fucking damn controller as far as running. You ran ECR off of a Xbox controller, and all I wanted to do at that time was help you out.
Those are the old days, dog. I used to text the numbers every Sunday with my controller to all the drivers.
Well, and
yeah.
back then, some of the guys would show up and they'd be bitching, "Hey man, I'm like 2 points off and all that." And I saw, instead of being one of the guys that sat over here and just bitch, I was like, "Wait a minute, maybe I can help him." That's all I ever wanted to do is just help out.
I've ever since appreciated it.
Look what you guys built.
10 years strong. 10 years strong.
Right.
What was
Now,
our tagline? Let's
um,
forget the rest.
we've had a few taglines.
Yeah,
Best damn racers in the game.
there you go.
Best Saturday night race. And if you go to the community pages, I don't know if y'all own the community pages on Facebook. There is a lot of leagues that have incorporated the name Elite into their divisions. It's
Yep.
I I don't know if it stemmed off of us, but hell, one of our guys, Welfare Bear, he's got his podcast up too. You can go check it out on YouTube. Um, he actually told one of the guys that was trying to recruit him. He said, "Why would I go to you? I'm with one of the longest um, leagues on Xbox. Why the hell would I leave that?"
Gave us a shout out. That was nice.
So
Yep. A
again,
lot of them's come and gone.
Billy,
Hope they come back too.
how long have you been with Elite Cup Racing, Billy? Every bit of what,
Yeah.
7 years?
It's probably closer, probably right about that. 7, 8 years.
Now, who came in first, you or a racer?
Racer. Racer told me about it because that was the year I think it was 2011, that new game came out. So
Mm-hmm.
no, man, I've been racing since 2011 when the first game come out after '09,
Now,
and
when you first came
I
into
know it
Elite
took them
Cup,
a while to shut the servers down on the '09, but that new game, that was the year that I started with Johnny, because Racer was already racing with you guys, and he told me, man, you need to join this league, and I joined it and been with it ever since. Other than a couple months there, I went off and joined another league, but wasn't long I come back. Just
I
a
think
whole different style racing here at ECR than there is anywhere else.
I think
A
everybody has
lot of good
eventually took a
guys.
time off. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just because the door's shut don't mean you can't open.
yep. But I know when I did come back, I ended up getting an 88. No, it was a three car. That's when I come back.
yeah,
Ended up
you,
getting a three car.
and then eventually worked your way over to the. I don't know who was driving the 88 at the damn time.
I can't remember, but he wasn't there every week, and I knew it was just a matter of time before it'd come open. And I
You
ended
know,
up stamping it and just waited for it to come open.
yeah, come to think about it, I think when you came back that last time, I think Unworn was driving the 88, and I think Unworn
Yeah,
jumped from the
somebody gave it
88
up.
and Unworn jumped from the 88 to the 20, and from the
Yep.
20 to the 3. It's always fun to watch these guys with their careers at Elite Cup racing and stuff like that. I only wish that my first race, I only wish that I started recording then. Obviously, I didn't. Hell, I didn't start recording until 4 years, maybe 5 seasons into Elite Cup racing. There's a lot of stuff we don't have recorded. Um, I remember my very first race whenever Elite Cup first started, I don't even know if it had a name yet. Um, we had a shootout race to get everybody in. If you made the shootout race, you worked your way in. And I worked with a guy, Pro Drive. We were first and second the whole entire race, and I sacrificed my car to give him a shot. As soon as I shot him out, I got wrecked, went into the infield, and I saw the whole entire field go right by me. And they were like, well, sorry you didn't make it. And I remember I said, well, the hell with it. I'll just show up next week, and maybe one of these guys didn't, show back up. And I remember Johnny coming back to me, and I was sitting there all by myself. Johnny sent me a party invite. I went over there, and Johnny said, what are you doing? I said, I'm just chilling. He said, well, strap up and come race with us tonight. You're in.
Damn.
And it's never been, I've never had a Saturday like I've had that Saturday ever since. Actually,
Yep.
Elite Cup racing started out racing on Fridays. I don't know if you remember that, Johnny. We actually raced on Fridays, and eventually it worked out where somebody was like, hell, I don't even know who came up with it. Let's move the motherfucking shit to Saturday. And that's where, hell, I think we raced a full season racing on Fridays, and eventually moved it over to Saturdays.
Yeah, I don't remember the Fridays. I remember the Saturdays. Every Saturday. And I probably only missed a handful of races in all the seasons I've run.
See big race starting to get on Saturday morning, start turning laps.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some characters, though, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, buddy. Florida, he was one, man. Remember Florida? That dude.
He screamed like a little girl, did he? Ah! That motherfucker always be screaming. Ah!
It was crazy. And Hard last week, he come back, man. That was some old school right there.
Yeah, 17 South told me about that. That was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, I was trying to get you in there, dude. That'd really been good.
That'd have been wild, huh?
Yeah. No Walnut. I mean, I know for what it's worth, dude. I still miss racing with his old ass. He was a lot
It's
of fun.
78.
Remember the season that he was there was a season that me and Walnut did not get along. The first couple seasons I run with him, and he used to wreck me all the time, dude. And I said, all right, Walnut, this is it, dude. I'm done. The next race, I'm going to wreck you with 5 laps to go. And I don't know if you remember that, Johnny, but I ended up wrecking him with 5 laps to go, dude, and he was leading the race. Oh, he was so mad. And you know what? I got to talking to him after we finished that race. Me and him got online together, and hell, he's one of my best friends on there now. I miss running with that old fucking Colorado dog.
Let's call him Wally. Hey, Wally.
Yeah.
Um,
Always had that bong running in the background, remember?
I always be smoking.
Walnut has sent a lot of cars to the DNF highway.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he meant to, but
No, man, he meant well.
and
It always
he drove the
he always
24 for a
overdrove
long
his car,
time.
though.
Yeah,
Walnut always overdrove it.
I know. I remember one season we were at Martinsville, and I'm pretty sure I do have a video of this. I have to look for it, but I can't remember if he got into it with Gainey. I don't think it was Gainey. I think he got into it with Naked Racer, or NFL is rigged. But we were at Martinsville, and he overdrove, and he sent Naked to the wall, and he never said a word about it. And
Yeah.
Naked was driving aggressive after that, and I was like, "Wait, man, what are you doing, man? If I pissed you off?" He said, "No, not you. There was another car that pissed me off," and I was like, I looked in front of me, and there was only one car in front of me, and it was damn Walnut, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is going to get bad."
Yeah, I tell you, man, he went through some shit.
I've wrecked Walnut a couple times too. Like you said,
Yeah.
I've got into it before, and Walnut. I think we got into it one time. Excuse me, at Bristol, and I wrecked him, and sure enough, a couple laps later, I thought, well, I done wrecked him. I junked him, right? There's no way he's gonna be
Yeah.
able to catch me, and I guess he went down pit road and fixed it, and came back after me, and fucking junked me. I was like, I thought we were even. He was like, oh no, we're even now. I was like, so the whole race we were just wrecking each other.
Yeah. Oh,
Our,
Walnut.
Yeah, his Walnut's one of those guys, and obviously we don't see each other. I base everything off voice and sound. Walnut's got a voice, like a damn pirate. He's got a deep voice, kind of like Johnny's.
Yeah, he just got that unique voice, you know?
Didn't he have them yapping ass little dogs?
He did.
Yeah.
I think he had a bird too,
Oh,
didn't he?
Yeah.
The dog drove me
Yeah.
crazy. I think he had
I think-
3 of them fucking things.
Yeah. There was one race where I think Dirty Ernie had showed up, and Ernie had partaked in a couple of brewskis.
No doubt.
So he was driving. I think he saw 2 cars every time he saw one car, and Walnut was hitting that bong pretty hard, and wasn't having any shit. And I think Walnut and Dirty got into it. I can't remember what track it was, and boy, those suckers went at it the whole entire race.
Hey. Was a two of a kind right there, dude.
When you get
Dirty,
those
have
two
you heard
characters,
anything from him lately?
every
Dirty?
I talked to Dirty. Well, I sent him a text at Father's Day, and he texted back. So yeah, I talked to him then. But
Yeah.
he's evidently he's doing his own thing now. I don't even know if he really gets on the game anymore.
Yeah. Well, I know he was talking there for a while. They was gonna lock him up.
Yeah,
So I just kind of wondering. Being you said Dirty, I ain't seen him on, and I don't see him posting very much stuff on Facebook anymore.
I have to see if we can't get him in here and do an audio thing. Well, guys, we got to get this wrapped up. We went way over. We didn't even take a commercial break. Billy, you're gonna have the
Wow.
biggest damn broadcast we got. It's supposed to be 17
Shout
minutes
out
to
to
South.
sponsors.
Yes, sir.
We're not gonna
Johnny,
be happy.
nah, we'll have to do something about that. Johnny, do you want
Give a
to
double punch next time.
ask Billy any more questions? We're getting ready to wrap this thing up.
Billy, are you going to be driving in the Winter Cup?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll be there.
That's a done deal. Okay.
Old teammate.
Billy's going to be there. I'm going to be there.
Yep. Okay, buddy.
All right, then we got 2 shout outs. We got 2 lock-ins right there. We got Johnny coming back for the Winter Cup, and we got Billy going to come in that Winter Cup. Billy, is there any shout out you want to give to anybody before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I give a shout out to LaFarve and Kane, Unworn, and just all the guys racing there at ECR. I mean, a lot of fun every Saturday night, and I can't wait for this Saturday, that double hitter.
Well, we definitely appreciate
We
you.
call it a double hitter.
I got to come up with something. Double. It's going to be double something. Big old bold red writing. Maybe I'll get Bucks to make it.
Double or nothing.
Yeah, double trouble. How about that?
There you go. That's good.
Billy, we appreciate you and enjoy having you around. You've been around for a while. You're definitely one of our core members, and you're a moderator for the Cup Series too. So people definitely look up to you as far as that. You're an old school ECR guy. We're never going to want to lose a guy like you. So, Billy, thank you for coming on the show this weekend. Johnny, thank you for being our special guest again. Hopefully we can do this all over again, guys, and we'll holler at you later. This is
All right.
Elite Cup Racing signing off.
Thank you, ECR too.
Another episode of
Damn.
All Talk Radio.